No, you want to go down the scripted rod. Improvising is not your forte.
It's your forte. Christ to the throne, no.
I downloaded that right after the last week's podcast.
The day after, I was at work and I was reading all the quotes. I was like, "Oh man, this movie's rich."
And you read the book, right?
A long time ago, yeah.
Years and years and years ago.
Back when I actually read.
And not like 140 characters or less.
Yeah. The world's changed. So have I. We moved past it.
Welcome to the Open Color Podcast. I am Cory Willis with Ryan Karkner. Shout out to those live streaming on YouTube, youtube.com/GoVNC. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for subscribing.
Huge influx of subscribers. Yes.
We had a spike today, so we're doing something right. Basically twisting our friends' arms to hit that subscribe button. So thank you, everybody, for doing that.
And for those on all of our podcast platforms, thanks for downloading. But if everyone's sharing, thanks for sharing. If not, turn someone onto the show. That's why we do it. We're here to entertain.
It's better than a kick in the face with a golf shoe.
Ooh, golf shoe or soccer cleat? If you had to pick,
golf shoe.
That's the worst one.
Definitely.
I like metal tips, right?
Cleats. That's actually plastic. That quote is actually from Pauly Shore's Son-in-Law. Great movie. Someone referenced Pauly Shore the other day. I can't remember who it was. Somebody did.
You don't get many Pauly Shore references.
You don't. They are once in a blue moon, and they're golden every time.
Now, what did him in? Was it him or just how every single movie is more or less the same?
It's like it was the typecasting of the stoner era 101. Like he was the same role like every movie.
Yeah, he was the Weasel.
The Weasel, buddy.
Yeah, Son-in-Law. I think Son-in-Law and Encino Man would probably be the pinnacle of if you were to take like a Quentin Tarantino and say what was his best thing, you're talking like Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction.
There's a lot of diversity.
You're talking Scorsese, you're talking Goodfellas, Raging Bull, but you got Pauly Shore. It's Encino Man and Son-in-Law. I would say In the Army Now, Jury Duty, Biodome.
Biodome is pretty good. He was also Max's stoner friend in a Goofy movie, so we can't forget that.
Yes,
the Leaning
movie
Tower,
with a stoner friend.
The Leaning Tower of Cheesa. Come on. Pauly Shore is not a genius. I don't know who is.
So we have people referencing Pauly Shore, and then you have you quoting Goof Troop. Or Goofy movie, sorry.
Goofy movie.
Was he a Goofy movie or extremely Goofy movie?
I think he was in both. That's the first time Pauly Shore ever got called back.
Oh, Pauly Shore. Did you see Pauly Shore is Dead? His mockumentary. No, it wasn't a mockumentary.
It was sort of like a mockumentary kind of. I don't think I ever saw it. I don't think anyone did.
I watched his TBS show that was kind of like
Minding the Store. I remember when that first came out, I was actually so stoked because that was the first time Pauly Shore died, career-wise. And I was super stoked to see him back on TV. So I was
he's
back. And then I watched a few episodes and it was
Yeah, it was too much. So Encino Man, Son-in-Law, then it was In the Army Now, a Goofy movie. He was uncredited.
Possibly an extremely goofy movie. I don't know.
And Jury Duty, and it all ended with Biodome. In terms of his lead movies.
Goodness. Don't get me wrong. I'd still party with Pauly Shore. I'm not here to, burn Pauly Shore.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'll do it for ratings.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the amount of time wasted watching Biodome.
I've seen Son-in-Law at least 16 times.
That's a very specific number.
That's how many times I've seen it.
You're not 20. You're not rounding. You're not rounding it up. It's at least 20 times, but 16.
16 on the nose.
Biodome, 4.4 out of 10 on IMDb.
If we could just talk 2 hours about Pauly Shore, I wouldn't have a single regret.
It's funny that Kylie Minogue was in that movie.
Really?
Yeah, she was Petra.
Of course she was.
One of the doctors.
Petra.
Petra.
Good times.
And like they have the most like loser names too, Bud and Doyle.
Oh yeah. But that's like all those kind of comedies, right?
Moronic best friends get themselves locked inside the biodome, a science experiment, along with a group of environmental scientists for 1 year. And they somehow were able to throw a rager in there.
Of course. It's Pauly, man.
Hollywood.
Wasn't Pauly Shore an Entourage? He was. He kept getting kicked out of the mansion with Johnny Drama. See, Pauly Shore's fine.
He's got
good.
this. He's got this.
You're fine.
You know who doesn't have this?
See?
He's got something else. No, The Walking Dead. You were a couple years behind, you said.
I stopped watching a couple seasons ago.
So it premiered 2 weeks ago. Ratings were down 50% versus the season before. Episode 2 was on Sunday. That is now down another 19%. So only about 5 million people. Still a lot for cable. So I was just thinking, I guess it's safe to say it's wore out its welcome, but at what point do you just put the nail in the coffin of most shows?
I think
this is what 9 seasons now.
Yeah, I think they call it after this season.
Think of anything else that's outwore its welcome?
Big Bang.
Big Bang. I thought The Office went too long. Myself.
Office went too long. 70s Show went too long.
Now, will you say the 70s Show should have ended prior to Eric Foreman leaving, or when Eric Foreman left?
Prior to.
Yeah. Once you take the the show started, I think the license plate said it was like 76, and then by like season 8,
like 70.
it's still somehow the 70s. They've had Christmas like 7 times.
Yeah, I always like wonder that watching each episode. It's like there's no way it's only been like X years.
Yeah, because he's 16 and turned 16 in the pilot, and then he gets the car, and then by the time he left, he I think was 1 year out of high school, and that was season 7. I think it went 8 years.
Yeah, something like that.
I still make the argument that Friends also went on too long.
Friends wasn't as noticeable, I don't think. I don't think it was as evident. Like I agree that it probably ran longer than it should, but I don't think the writing was still decent enough where it's like, oh, okay, like I guess they got away with it.
I find that was one show that didn't care about character continuity. Like if you go back to the beginning of the show, and especially with the Chandler character, like, he knew sports, he was attending games, he knew about the Knicks, and then by the end, he didn't know a damn thing about sports. He's very feminine.
People change.
Like, I don't watch sports nearly as much as I used to, but I still know enough about it.
Yeah, you wouldn't like completely.
I'm not making potpourri or nothing.
Potpourri.
Well,
potent potables.
Potent potables for $300, Alex.
Yeah, I don't know. Friends was okay. Like yeah, I can make the argument that it ran okay.
The only one I think that I probably would still watch more of and wish there was more of, even though it went 11 seasons, was Cheers.
Someone at work called me out today for knowing that song, which was interesting because we've been talking about the
called you like how dare you know the theme song to Cheers?
Yeah, I can't remember. It was how you can relate Cheers to every workplace, and it's like, oh my god, it's like I'm at Cheers. Everyone knows your name. And then so anyways, like I did like a little couple notes of the tune, and someone was like, oh, like how would you know that tune? You're not old enough for that. Like that typical generation or whatever baby boomer type comment.
Generation Y.
I think it'd be Generation
X.
Maybe Generation
V.
Maybe baby boomers for Cheers. I don't know. It's an old show. But yeah, anyways, I would just find that
it's always old people that like love making those comments. You're too old for that. Oh, you're just a young pup. Stuff like that.
Hey, so they're like, I feel old. How old are you? Oh, I'm 32. Oh, you're just a young lad.
Yeah, I say I'm 30. And it's like, oh, you got your world ahead of you. Do I?
I'm like, we watched the news, sir. I don't think we have much left of this world.
Yeah, last I checked, I'm in the same lunchroom as you, Doug.
Was his name Doug?
No.
Does Doug listen to the show? Because we could use a.
You'd use a Dougie.
That's a name you don't hear much anymore either.
Doug.
It's not Aiden or Hayden.
No, I haven't received any hate mail for that.
Yeah, no, I was very careful to make sure that was front and center on the episode title.
I know.
It
And
was like, oh, who's Aiden? I know an Aiden. Maybe they're on the show.
I guess we don't have it. We haven't hit the Hayden Aiden market yet. That demographic.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say we're not those demos, the millennial generation.
I was gonna say this podcast isn't dedicated to 14-year-old skateboarders. I'm sorry.
Not yet.
Not yet. Soon.
It's coming. Like my shirt is Ghostbusters, but it's not the new Ghostbusters. The man version.
The man version.
The real Ghostbusters is what they called the cartoon. Do you watch the Connors thing the other day?
No, but apparently it did really well, I read today.
No Ambien.
No Ambien. Not even one Ambien reference.
No, but there was a lot of outrage. That's what I don't understand. Again, it's all soapbox now, right? Right? People are like, oh, I hope this fails because, she was gracious enough to let you guys do it. And she got fired for stupidness. She should have just had to apologize. That's all she had to do. Hope the show...
but I think there's more people who are on the opposite side of the spectrum that watch the show almost for the sake of making a point that, things do go on when people make those kind of, we'll say it, shitty remarks. And it's almost maybe they want it to succeed to, I don't know, show that social justice works, I guess.
It's like the James Gunn controversy too. Like that movie, that's going to continue on without him.
Yeah, no, yeah. And I guarantee you see the same thing where they're, despite maybe what's actually observed versus what they want you to, see, is maybe they say, oh, Guardians 3 does really, really well, or it blew the box office, or it's getting good ratings, whatever it takes to show that, everyone's kind of social justice BS was heard. And, it was a positive impact. You guys done good. Because then everybody wants to give themselves the collective pat on the back.
Well, my argument on the flip side is who goes to see these movies? Or 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 8-year-olds. They don't know that somebody behind the scenes said a tweet and now is no longer saying action and cut. Like they don't see that stuff. They don't watch the credits and read the names on it and know who's who. We'll know because the tone might be different, or it might sound a bit different because it's different voice on the getting that out. But Joe Fan is not going to pay attention to who is the man behind the camera.
No, but now that it's gotten whatever.
I think that's what is making people look at it, but it's not.
Focus. Yeah, I think the Connors and similarly Guardians 3, I think you're going to see that where it's kind of this buffed success where, I'm sure the show did okay, and I'm sure people tuned in. Was it mind-blowingly triumphant? Maybe not as much as what you're sounding it.
No, from what I read is the rating number was the exact same as what the finale number was last May for Roseanne. So
there you go.
100% of that audience came to check this out. So
how is that a quote unquote triumph? Like I read today, it was a triumph. It was
sorry when those all things considered, right?
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
It didn't fail. I'll give you that. People watched.
But maybe in this day's climate, having 10 million to tune into their television is astronomical.
Yeah.
This is like Oscar telecast numbers now. And even then, that's all shit.
People were watching Roseanne because they had to.
Someone put a gun to their head?
Well, cable provider did.
Well, with the promotions.
That's why we watched Home Improvement.
I liked Home Improvement.
It's because you were forced to watch it. We all did, Cory. We all did.
Well, the thing, we didn't grow up in a time where there was 4 channels, so whatever's on is you had to watch it if you were going to watch TV.
Exactly.
We grew up at a time when there was probably 74 channels.
Yeah.
And the good stuff was only on the
So
Fox,
many.
Yeah, the Fox, the NBC, the ABC, and the C. Well, I wouldn't even say CBS because we didn't have gray hair 20 years ago.
When I was a kid, we had YTV and Fox Kids. That's it.
Watching Squawk Box.
You had to watch one Saturday morning or whatever the hell was on YTV.
Yeah, just like my kids and God willing, your kids.
God willing. Cross my heart, God willing.
Well, when you put that $1,000 cell phone in your pocket, who knows what kind of radiation that thing's giving them? They won't grow up with Saturday morning cartoons.
No.
Because they have their Teletoon and their Nickelodeon and their Disney Channel.
The way we're going right now, will we even have... I'm sure we'll have cartoons, but maybe like post-World War III propaganda cartoons. I don't think we'll have cartoons like the ones we had when we were growing up. And you're already... Yeah, and you're like Animaniacs. And then they try to rewrite Animaniacs. And
it's coming back, man, January.
I guarantee you, I will make this claim right now. Like, it's not even going to remotely touch the original on so many fronts.
No, it can't. You can't.
There's so many things that Animaniacs got away with that they weren't even supposed to get away with back then, technically. And that's what made the show so fun and then so notable in hindsight.
Well, yeah, it's one of those few that was self-aware. It broke the fourth wall. It called out Hollywood for its BS.
Yeah, talked about how many cartoons actually openly discussed Fox executives.
Yeah, even in their theme song, they said they have pay-for-play contracts.
Yeah, pay-for-play contracts.
So they get paid whether they're on the show or not.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna. But yeah. Back to my original point. I don't watch a ton of cartoons. Maybe you do because you might have it on in your household. But I don't see cartoons like that anymore.
No, and the animation style is so erratic and
it's weird and different. I don't like it. used to think I knew what it was, but then they changed it.
I miss the old Filmation where the characters on a 45 and the only thing that moves is his mouth.
Yeah.
The classic is it Super Friends or the 60s Spider-Man where the same background drop is used every 4 scenes.
Amazing.
And you're like, this must have cost a fortune, and they're like
a
couple $100. Yeah. $2,000 for the whole season.
Yeah. You've been watching it for 50 some odd years.
And it's just hard to think that things like The Simpsons is now 30th season, South Park's in their 22nd seasons, Family Guy is now at season 17.
I think the one that kind of surprises me the most is South Park, because I don't Simpsons is they kind of always play it relatively safe now. South Park still kind of pushes the envelope, kind of episode to episode on a lot of things.
Yeah, this last one was making fun of legalized pot, vaping. Ironically, Ronan Farrow. School shootings again. It seems to be the new thing. The episode that was on one last night. It's every episode usually starts with the school. It does that little tune, but after the tune and the school bell went, all you hear was machine gun go off. And then cuts into the class and everything's just normal because that's the new normal in the States is everybody gets shot at school.
Yeah. And so to make all these kind of daring episodes like that and to keep getting renewed season after season, especially in today's world. So I think that's what surprises me the most, that South Park has been able to get away with what it has.
Well, I'm wondering too if its constant renewal is more about the money that you can make through merch and stuff, because they said years ago that to produce The Simpsons is no longer financially viable, but because they make so much money with their merchandise and
You can keep
licensing,
it running.
I think that's what keeps it going. Yeah. So they just do it more like to pad their stats than anything else.
Yeah. No, I'm okay with it.
Because like I think even with Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane is more or less hands off. He's basically just the paid actor to do voices. He doesn't. That thing runs itself now.
Well, that's what you want as a business owner.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just autopilot, zone out, go do your own thing.
Yep.
Although
focus on other projects.
Have you seen the Orville that he's doing now?
No, but like I think people are watching it, so it's gotta be relatively.
No, I never checked it. I thought about it, and then things just got away.
As they do.
As anything does. But one thing that did not get away for its own good is you see Netflix has been going on a canceled bender.
Apparently Friends is going.
Yeah, because Warner Brothers, like Disney, wants to do its own streaming platform. So anything that's Warner Media will be pulled. They canceled Orange is the New Black, one of their first shows. And they recently canceled Marvel's Iron Fist after 2 seasons.
Yeah, I'm okay with that one.
Did you check the first season out, or?
No.
No, you just no interest in it?
I think I read like the synopsis or whatever.
The first season was mind-numbingly slow. I've heard the second one is a vast improvement over the first, but I haven't checked it out.
I suggest you do.
Oh, thanks, man.
No problem. That's what I'm here for.
But that's one thing now, is we're going to see things that are going to be canceled. Like let's use Brooklyn Nine-Nine as an example. A show that gets canceled now popping up on someone else's thing because they need content, right?
Yeah.
So is now that Netflix has canceled Marvel show, Disney's going to be doing their streaming platform. We're going to start getting that come back. So things that are not worthy of keeping just going to be kept alive for the purposes of being a content generator.
So like, is this almost like a downfall of Netflix, you think, where kind of all these companies are kind of wise enough and figured it out that they can all just make their own independent streaming services?
Yeah, well, I think it also plays into what you're saying too. Like you're gonna have Disney with a streaming platform, Netflix is gonna have its own, Warner Brothers is gonna have its own. So when you're paying $9.99 or $9.95 or $8.99 for each, but then like you said, that's like a Disney streaming service. Netflix canceled Iron Fist, Disney picks it up. So now I pay for the service. You're forcing me to watch Iron Fist because that's the content that you have.
Yeah, pretty much. Because you're not going to pay for each and every streaming service.
It's probably cheaper just to keep your cable.
Maybe
and we'll have nothing on because everything's going to be on digital. There was, I think, was it in India? Too bad Michelle's not here. I think they said somebody was going to be treated for the first ever like Netflix addiction.
Really?
And the only thing I can think of, well, that's not a thing. It's just you're just watching TV. So basically, he's got a TV addiction, but because it's Netflix, they gotta make it seem like it's this all new
thing. Yeah. We've been addicted to TV since its inception, really.
Oh yeah, that's like that was the whole point of it. That's what everyone said. TV's gonna turn kids into zombies, or
we're all still here.
That's why they call it the boob tube.
That's why they call it the boob tube. Turns you into a boob.
Or it had boobs on there.
Sometimes.
The good channels.
Yeah, sometimes they were scrambled.
You remember? I'm sure you obviously remember, but did you ever have an opportunity, like at anything, whether it was like a pay-per-view fight or anything, where you threw it on one of those pay channels and it eventually did come in?
Maybe like a long time ago.
I think that happened to me once. It was the greatest thing. I can't remember what movie it was. I think it may have been Basketball or something.
Yeah, I know one of my friends, he had like illegal pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. And so we watched all the pay-per-view.
We had that too.
That was great.
That's back when you can get DirecTV in Canada. You get the card program, and you just pop it in there, you get everything. And then they send that signal, fry the card, you gotta get a new card.
Maybe. I don't know. I was too young to understand how it worked. I just watched a lot of R-rated movies I shouldn't have.
I remember having that. The card got fried, so my mom brought it out to I guess the place that they were getting it done, and she comes back and just pissed that the place got raided. Just like mad that they caught on, and now we can't watch TV like all these channels again. You can watch the ones you're obviously paying for, but not the other ones.
Yeah,
How dare they?
Just like, yeah, how dare they do their jobs and arrest these people for breaking the law and inconveniencing us? I watched a lot of White Man's Burden on that. Harry Belafonte and John Travolta. You ever see that movie?
I don't think so.
It's well, the thing about it's like a role reversal of what like a lot of people see as the US now, where it's basically people of color were like had it easy, were on like easy street, they were rich and all that stuff, and the white man was the one having a problem.
Hey, don't joke about that.
Well, that's what I think the US is like now, right? That's why Trump's in power.
It's coming. And I was thinking about this the other day. You know, like all those like tweets and stuff like that. It's like, oh, like why do white people say that? Like, why do white people say, oh yeah, that's gonna hold and stuff like that? Like, why are those jokes all of a sudden okay? And we laugh it off. Like, we're like, oh yeah, we do say that. But like, really, it's like, okay, but if a
white man drives a car like this, guess we do drive cars like that.
Yeah, it's always like those kind of jokes, right? But like, if shoes on the other foot, and I say something similar, say about an Asian person or a black person, then like that doesn't fly nearly as well. I'm tied to the stake and burnt. So why is that a slippery slope? Like I don't care personally. Like if you want to make white folk jokes, have at her. I think they're hilarious. But is it a slippery slope to where we let these things slide and then maybe slowly we're going to the other end of the spectrum? Maybe.
So it's like it's almost like, when you're like goofing around, like with your family, you can make jokes about dad, you can make jokes about mom, but if they make a joke on you, you feel bad. Sort
of like that's almost where it's at. Yeah. If you were to simplify it.
You can't simplify something as a hot button as racial issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like it seems like when comedy exploded, like in the 70s and 80s, like nothing was off limits. And I like it there. I agree with that, where everything's okay. And so now it kind of in now where we're at now, where everyone's up in arms and everyone gets a little more easily offended, and kind of, jokes have to be very more politically correct now. That's fine. But now I think all these jokes are slowly popping up where it's like, oh, like white people do this, white people do that. And it's like, interesting. Like, is that now that we finally hit ground zero on terms of, whatever offensive content or, racial sensitivity, all that, now that we've hit ground zero on it, now is it almost the other side starting to pop up and kind of get away with it when the idea was to just have pure equality on it, let's say. I'm not even entirely sure it has to do with the equality, but I think what we might be dealing with here is a situation where, going back to like social media and media content, is that now all this stuff is readily available, that you can find anybody who agrees with you. So if you think a joke's offensive, you can find someone who agrees with you, who then finds 10 more people who agrees with you, and then that becomes a hot button issue. Whereas, again, back in the 70s, 80s, if you wanted to hear that stuff, you had to seek it out. Go to an event, this person said it. If you didn't like it or you did like it, it's a one-time shot, it's gone. You tell your friends, they might find it funny, or you tell your friends, they might find it offensive. And then it's contained right within your tight-knit group. Yeah, quarantined. And now, again, something pisses you off, you can go online, Facebook, your 200 friends then now share it. Now it's shared 200,000 times, and now it's an issue. So I think, again, that maybe they may not necessarily have been inoffensive back then. It wasn't something that blew up because the means of getting that out wasn't there. At the end of the day, as technology improved, so did the ability to be offended.
And so also did the ability to communicate.
Yeah, communicate said offense.
Yeah. And, that's the world we live in, and I get that. But at the same time, it kind of comes back to my point where, okay, so now, because and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but if, I hate to do this, but I'll use V as an example here.
Do it. He's not here. He can't defend himself.
Like if V, generally, if V says like a joke about my race and says, "Oh, like you fucking white people always do this and this and this," I'll like heartily chuckle, and like you'll chuckle, I'll chuckle, we'll have a good laugh. And, oh yeah, we do that, and kind of do the gung ho.
Oh you,
and then like specifically, I know V would be okay, but like on a very general stance, if I was to make a same joke about Michelle's race and say, "Oh, well, like fucking brown people do this, blah 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 blah," I don't think it gets nearly received as, what's the word I'm looking for, gently as what V just said to me. I think there's already a double standard that we're seeing there.
Am I wrong? I think we're almost tuned now to almost be offended by what we say before we say it.
Oh yeah. Or it's like sometimes it slips out, and I'm guilty of this on a few occasions where I don't think I'm necessarily a bad person or think that way. Just sometimes you just say it and you're like, okay, probably shouldn't have said that. But anyone can kind of skew it into whatever.
It begs the question again: is this now the result of how we perceive things back then, or how everything's perceived now? You're just instantly figuring this was not okay ever. This is not okay to say now.
Well, so here, think of it this way. Are people offended, or are they looking to be offended?
I think people nowadays are looking to be offended because that seems like what you have to do.
Yeah.
Like I made this argument before, like we all grew up around the same age. We all went to school where, kids got picked on or made fun of, and it rolled off their backs and people went on with their lives.
Right.
Kids got bad marks, whatever, do better in school. Now our same generation are now parents, and kids are getting picked on at school. Now it's an issue. Now it's the school's fault. Now the school has to do something about it. Kid gets bad marks. It's a teacher's fault. Teacher, we have to have a meeting. We got to talk about this.
I never got that. My marks.
No, not at all. I can't understand is we grew up more or less the same way. We didn't have parents who were all over the teachers because you got a B when they thought this mark should have been an A. It's like, oh, do better next time. But now they have to go in there on their soapbox and drill the teacher because they think their kid is perfect. Their kid is precious. Their kid can't do no wrong.
Yeah.
I don't get how people are like that. Again, and maybe their parents raised them that way. Maybe that's how their parents were with their school. But I think generally speaking, I didn't witness any of that with parents when I was in school. I don't know where the turn happened.
I don't know where the turn happened either. And I think, and it's frustrating because at the same time, this whole social justice movement has actually done so much good for a lot of things. But I think it's just getting to the point now where we're just pushing it too far to the end of the spectrum, where we're going to be pissed off in 7 or 8 years or 10 years, where we've pushed it to the extreme too much that it bounces back and it kind of recoils. And we're back to where we started again. Just because there's an ebb and flow to everything.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's how things work. Like you push something, like this is true with the workplace, society, whatever. There's ebb and flow. So when you push something too much, it'll ultimately regress back to where it should be. So instead of making this huge wave in a direction that is at its core the right direction, but you're pushing that wave a little too far, don't you want to make that wave a little bit smaller so when the flow comes back, it's where you want it to be versus the other end and back to where you started? Does that make sense?
No, it does. You essentially what you're saying is if we're all going to be offended over every little thing now, eventually we're just not going to be offended with anything at all.
Something like that, yeah. It'll be some sort of ebb and flow effect like that, where it's gonna find a way to regress to where what actually makes sense from a societal standpoint. It can't just be this thing where we're all walking around on eggshells forever, afraid to say anything because every sixth thought in our head is potentially offensive or racist or sexist or ageist.
Well, let's look like what recently happened here at one of our the Ottawa Senators. I think it was a preseason game. where they inadvertently did an English only anthem, right? Like I said, a guest speaker and a singer, and they only sang the English version. And good for the sentence, they got out ahead of it. But at the end of the day, I think any given time and any other, they say 15 years ago, that probably you wouldn't have even had to do that.
No. And okay, so let's take that instance for an example. So the singer, whoever it is, forgets to sing the French side of the anthem.
Yeah, I think the press release said something along. It was just that they put the teleprompter with the lyrics, and I guess there was just the wrong copy got in. Like, it happens all the time. Like, you just go watch any sort of
whatever's on that teleprompter.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so like there was one fuck up. Like, I understand people, the logical and rational approach to this would be like, hey, by the way, like the French anthem didn't get sung, instead of everybody losing their shit. Now, if it happened over and over again at CTC and you were continuously seeing the English only, then yes, I think that's time to kind of raise your fist and say, okay, we do have a bilingual country. This is an issue. But a one-off, you guys got to learn to let that go.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're so groomed to think that there's going to be backlash. You have to get ahead of something.
Not even let it go.
And
just
I'm sure,
not lose their shit about it.
And I bet you, like, maybe a handful of people even noticed.
No,
because when you do the bilingual anthem, it's a small portion of the song, right?
Yeah,
like it starts English, ends English. There's a very small gap in the middle.
Yeah, you do the couple phrases where it's French.
But yeah, good of them. Like I said, they got ahead of it. But again, here we are having to prepare for eventual.
Another big thing was like when they changed the anthem to it's not sons anymore.
It's all of us.
All of us, boy and girl. So I don't think like people were losing their mind over that, and I get that it's like a part. Is it though? Like just an anthem.
Yeah, the anthem's not that old. But
no. I think it was originally all or something. There was a huge debate on it when this first got announced. It's one word. We'll get over it.
Will we?
I don't know.
Take your breather and regroup. Just throw a shout to our partners with 80stees.com. If you have interest in a shirt like that I have on with Ghostbusters or anything else from the 80s, whether it's a movie, TV show, cartoons, as we've been talking about, 80stees.com. Enter the promo code OpenColor30 at checkout. Save yourself 30% on your purchase. That's 80stees.com. Celebrate your inner 80s kids with the raddest retro t-shirts and pop culture gear. I saw this pop up on CNN. It had to do with former NFL star and convicted murderer Aaron Hernandez. They were talking about his childhood. Apparently, he was used to be beaten and abused when he was sexually abused when he was a kid, according to the Boston Globe. Do we need to have to find a reason for why somebody's bad now? Yeah, faults. Like, this guy was a bad guy. He killed people. Do we have to look into his child to justify what he did? Like, let's take movies, for example. Like, aren't some of the best villains are the ones you don't know their motivation?
Yeah. I think it's not really like you have to find something bad. I think it's just for them to...
Actually, it's like...
I don't know, tie sexual abuse or abuse to, it's
like a political stance, you think?
No, I think it's more like a psychology stance. It's not really a political stance.
Well, there's just some people who are just, they were just bad people.
What's interesting
bad.
About
they
that,
just
What's interesting about that is that this would just be coming up now because in the NFL, like when you get scouted, like scouts know everything. Like they know where you went to high school. They talk to your parents. Like they come over. Like they
vet you pretty good. Like a Supreme Court nominee.
Yeah, they look at stuff. So for this to be found out after the fact is kind of too convenient for me almost.
Because it was 2 years ago since his suicide.
Yeah, like this he was one of the most like dominating tight ends until it all went down. And like you're telling me that like this guy had coaches, teachers, college coaches, everything, like people basically following this guy for the majority of probably his football life, and like nobody knew. Maybe people knew and they didn't say anything. That's possible.
Hmm.
But don't tell me like you guys are just finding this out now and this is like brand new information.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, like, is you figure, especially something like the NFL, if someone came from a bad childhood such as this, they would be like promoting the shit of that on like this, like the 30 for 30s or the like when they do like their player interviews, they talk about that stuff. Oh, you know, from the humble beginnings of. They usually do that. I'm pretty sure, you know, from homeless to hero. The Aaron Hernandez story.
This is a
The
very
Ryan Kirker
on the
story.
edge episode of Open Collar.
The gloves are off.
This is like
Collars, the buttons undone.
the buttons undone.
I don't know. You
The
have to. They try to humanize the monsters, right?
Yeah.
But
if any of you want to give us your feedback, any of our 17 subscribers, feel free. If you think
opencolorpod@gmail.com or leave a comment on Facebook.
if you think I'm wrong and a jackass, let me know.
Everyone else does.
Everyone else does. I assure you.
I was so the NBA season started yesterday. Raptors with the big win.
I didn't even get to watch it because I don't have cable, and I was here, and kind of sad about it. But.
Well, they won.
They did.
It was a lot closer than it should have been given the roster of the Cavaliers. But those kind folks over at 2K Sports ran an NBA 2K19 season simulation.
I love when they do this.
So, because we know anytime a video game does a simulation, it is just set in stone. Just
accurate.
Yeah, book your plane tickets now. So they have the Raptors setting a new franchise record with 68 wins, taking the top spot in the East. In the West, you'll be surprised, they have the Thunder as the number 1 seed over there. I think the Warriors are 4th.
Thunder's Thunder's not going to make the playoffs.
They have the Lakers making the playoffs.
Yeah, that's possible.
I think like the 6th spot. And as for the playoffs, the finals consist of the Raptors taking on the Rockets. And it goes 7 games with the Raptors winning the championship. So we, the North, book your championship packages now.
Yeah, seriously.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's been booked. So saith NBA 2K19.
So shall it be written? So shall it be done? That's a Disney's recess quote from one Saturday morning, everybody. You're welcome.
Toon Disney. I don't know. Was it, I think NHL 18 had Winnipeg winning the championship last year. This year they have Toronto. So they like the Canadian teams really early.
Yeah, I still have that bet with Michelle that they're not going to win the cup. I haven't forgotten.
That they're not going to, or are they going to?
No, I said they're not going to. And I bet V 7-1 that they weren't going to. So if they win, I owe V 7-1.
You owe him $7 because you bet $1.
We bet $20.
Oh God!
I'm giving him $140 if he takes that, which I'm okay with.
Well, let's roll right now. What, they're 5-1 or 4-1?
They're doing well. I have no doubt that they're doing that. They'll do well. I don't think they're winning the Stanley Cup.
That's a long.
Just because it's Toronto.
Long season.
It is.
The their top 4 or 5 spots in scoring belong to them?
Yeah, like Tavares, Matthews.
Marner.
Riley. Mitchie.
Morgan Riley. Sorry, they're 6-1.
Yeah, they'll do well. I don't think they're going to be a bad team this year, obviously.
They just need goaltending and defense.
They do need defense. Their defense I watched their one game against Ottawa, and their defense looked pretty atrocious. Isn't that the one game they lost?
Yeah.
Go Sens go.
And then the next night they're in Chicago and scored 7.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And then led in 6.
So that's kind of leads me to believe that they're inconsistent. Maybe.
Well, maybe you trade Willie Nylander for a defenseman. Just putting it out there. Sign and trade.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I don't know about hockey though.
Perhaps
my
we, perhaps not.
Diminished. The only time I knew anything about hockey was when I actually worked at Carell Center, Centre Carell.
Well, kind of had to, I guess, just to have a conversation with potential purchasers.
Yeah.
But really, all you had to do is know who was on a roster because that person wanted to buy a ticket to that game.
Or where somebody should sit during the Andre Rieu concert.
Straight on.
Yeah.
Because an elderly person wants to be able to see.
There's not a bad seat in the house, sir.
Except for the one except for the one that you just purchased.
Yeah. Well, remember, like always at concerts, they'd have the ones that are essentially like behind the stage. Actually, they'd sell those at the last minute. And then people would come back complaining that they can't see.
Well,
you paid $15. Yeah, you paid $15 for a ticket. Buyer beware. I told you my truck would bring you places. Never said there were places you wanted to go.
So you want to do your first ever pick six on the show?
Yes.
So what we're going to do here is I'm going to read you 6 matchups in the NFL this week.
This is how we're going to get ratings.
Yeah, and you, my friend, are to pick the winner. Now, I went out of my way to make sure that they are effing close matchups.
Wait, am I picking against the spread, or just outright?
Just pick outright.
Yeah.
If you blow it wide open and go 6-0, maybe we'll do spread.
Okay.
But okay, you're ready. You got this. Do you have your thinking cap on? Your swarmy cap?
I have my receding hairline.
There you go. Chris Berman will be proud. Okay, so number 1, we have the 4-2 New England Patriots taking on the 3-2 Chicago, even when it was the Bears.
I really like the Bears on this one. I think the Pats got super lucky with the Chiefs, and that was like a pretty close game. Yeah, I'll take the Bears. I think
the Bears, even when it was the Patriots, you knew it was going to be the Bears.
Yeah, I think Khalil Mack's too strong. Their defense is really good. They've got some issues at quarterback, but overall, they're just a super strong team. And I think everyone saw the New England win against the Chiefs as the Patriots are back. Brady's back. Yeah, I don't think so. I'll take the Bears on this one, and you think we win them right?
Well, I would say a 4-2 record does not lead me to believe that the Patriots are back.
No, I think they're average.
Yeah, well, they play in a soft division, so.
And the Bears are at home, right?
They are. Soldier Field. Represent.
Yeah, I'll take the Bears. I'll go bold. I'll take the Bears there.
Go bold.
Go bold.
All right, match number 2. We have the 3-3 Dallas Cowboys taking on the 3-2 Washingtonians. I
am taking the Cowboys. They looked really good against Jacksonville. Looks like they had their shit together.
Scored 40 points on Jacksonville, did they not?
Oh, they ran over Jacksonville. I think Dallas, they had a lot of struggles early on in the season. I think they just had to find they were like Stella. They had to get their groove back. And I think Washington is they're not super good where I think they're going to beat a newfound Dallas team. So I'm taking Dallas.
Yeah, when I was looking at the records here, I was surprised that Washington had a winning record. I don't remember the last time I ever saw one.
Yeah, they're semi-decent, but I think Dallas has kind of found their
niche. So we got, how about them Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
All right, the third pick goes to the 2-3-1 Cleveland Vichels, taking on the Tampa Buccaneers, who are 2-3. I did this on purpose. I told you that.
Yeah, this is tough. I will take. I'm gonna take Cleveland.
Ooh, when it was the Browns.
Baker, money maker. I think Cleveland's a semi-decent. I'm using semi-decent pretty generously here. I think they're a competent team that can win games. Yeah. And I think the back and forth that Tampa Bay has with Fitzmagic and Winston, I think is going to play into a little bit of indecisiveness, a little bit of locker room morale issues. Mm-hmm. It's hard to be confident when you don't know who's at the helm. I think Cleveland takes advantage of that this weekend.
Well, I've been hearing from a lot of people that they're better than the record shows.
Cleveland?
Browns. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're a couple kicks away of being like,
Yeah, they're not a 5-0 team, but
no,
definitely.
They definitely could have stole a couple of those games.
All right, number 4, we have the coming off of a historic week, the 4-1 New Orleans Saints at the 4-2 Baltimore defense.
This is another tough one.
The Ravens. Quote the Ravens, our defense is awesome.
Ravens are at home?
They are.
I'll take the Ravens.
You don't think they're gonna the Saints are gonna be riding high off of
I think
Breezy's historic?
It ain't easy being Breezy.
Apparently it is. They're 4-1.
Yeah. No, I think Baltimore's a really competent, capable team. They're looking really, really strong this year. I think Breeze is coming off like a big milestone. He's partied a bit, maybe spent some time with his kids.
I like how the maybe spent time with his kids.
He
partied, but he may have spent time with his kids.
He might have a little bit of milestone hangover. So I'm taking Baltimore.
All right, number 5, the 4-2 Bengals of Cincinnati at the Kansas City Chiefs. 5-1. You got
Chiefs. Hands down.
Yeah.
That's my
shoe-in of the week.
Did you take your shoe off? Probably best pass out from the outer. And in what clearly seems to be the best Monday night matchup of the year, the 1-5 New York Giants at the 2-4 Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I like the Atlanta Falcons.
I like the Falcons at home.
Yeah, I mean it's the Giants. They haven't been great.
Falcons are definitely a better team than their record shows. So Atlanta. There's your 6.
There's your 6.
Right.
I'm on your 6. All right, so let's recap. You have the Chicago Bears beating the New England Patriots.
Yep.
We have the Dallas Cowboys over Washington. Cleveland Browns defeating Tampa.
You got it.
Baltimore Ravens knocking off the New Orleans Saints. Kansas City bouncing back from their loss last week to take out the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Atlanta Falcons knocking off Eli Manning and the Giants.
You got it. Lock it in, folks.
Locked and loaded. That was Ryan's pick 6. We need a theme song.
Pick 6. There you go.
I'm cutting that, and I'm gonna have it next week. Just add some music in the background too, a little bit. A little remix.
That's right.
That's for our viewers. That's for Ashley.
Yeah, she'll enjoy.
She'll enjoy that. Yeah.
Ringtone.
Yeah. You're welcome, Ashley.
How is your football pool going thus far this year?
I'm 1-5 in my fantasy pool.
So
yeah. Well, I always seem to be playing everybody when they have like their monumental best week ever. So logically, not unlike the Cleveland Browns, my record should be better in theory, but it's not. You got to win every week, so I'm dealing with that currently.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? But yeah, no, it's going well. I enjoy it, and I keep tabs on it. It's kind of an autopilot. Once you're like as a commissioner, once you get the draft done and everybody's settled and the rules set, it's on autopilot until the end of the year.
Cool.
That's why I do this stuff, Cory, to keep my brain occupied.
Betting on the baseball playoffs?
I haven't been.
No.
Yeah.
It seems tough. Like
I like watching it.
I don't have a feel who's gonna take what.
I want like putting like $5 here and there on certain games just to like as I'm watching it keep it interesting.
So the Dodgers are a win away.
Dodgers are a win away, and
the Red Sox are as well.
Boston are up. Yeah, Boston. Yeah, they're up 3-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they play. I think again. No, they play again on Friday. I think. Yeah, I think both series.
I want to see a Boston-Milwaukee final.
The Brew Crew.
I want to see Milwaukee go to a World Series. I think that'd be cool. I don't want to see a Boston Dodgers World Series. It's so mad.
It'd be fun if it was the Yankees and Dodgers because they both were at one time in New York.
Yeah. But like, I always
I like the
seeing
idea of the coasts, like Rangers, Kings, or Lakers, Knicks.
Anytime I get to see like an underdog team kind of go to the World Series, it always makes it interesting. So,
when was the last time there was an underdog in the final?
like a true underdog? God,
I guess before the Red Sox were winning, I guess it would have been say them because they would with that curse the Bambino.
The 2003 Florida Marlins. I have no idea.
Were they?
I can't think of anything.
Yeah, there's not too many where we're like, wow, they are underdogs.
So you need your stats guy, Mr. Google.
Yeah, the Florida Marlins had a pretty good team in 2000. I don't even know if that's the one that. Oh yeah, they won the World Series in 2000. Yeah, no, they weren't even underdogs. Biggest World Series underdogs.
Well, you look that up, and I'll just plug videoeta.com, one of our other partners.
Good.
You guys like movies, want to buy DVD, Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray, if you got a nice fancy television, go there, enter the promo code CALLER, save yourself anywhere between 5 and 25% off any of the movies on their site. That's videoeta.com, videoeta.com. Any luck with the internet?
When the Chicago White Sox won the World Series in 1906. Or when the Mets won in 1969. Those are like the two big underdog stories of World Series wins.
Well, there you go.
Now you know, folks.
The more you know. So I saw this. This is not really anything special, but I thought it was interesting as we were winding things down here. So Boris Karloff's The Mummy movie from way back in 1932.
Oh, it was like Brendan Fraser?
No, Boris Karloff, as you might fondly remember as the voice of the Grinch in the 60s.
Oh, yes.
So back in the day, he was essentially like the monster movie guy. He was in The Mummy, and then he was in Frankenstein. He played the monster, obviously, as I'm saying here. But there's a lithographic film poster for that movie. At one time went up for auction, and when it went up in 1997, it sold for like $453,000. So there's another copy that's going up for sale end of this month. I guess, Halloween. So they're saying it could fetch anywhere between $1 million to $1.5 million at auction.
Wow.
Which would make it the most expensive movie poster in the world. Okay. If it sells. It was, again, at one time it was the most expensive, but they're saying now being resold again, it could very well be fetched anywhere between $1 million to $5 million. It's being sold at the Sotheby's auction house on October 31st.
We need that poster.
Look out. I'm all right. I have a couple posters. I don't need that one. This is in 2014, a 1927 poster for London After Midnight broke the record. It was most expensive, while the current record holder is a 1931 poster for Dracula, was sold for $525,000.
That's insane.
Yeah. The Mummy was directed by Carl Freuden and also starred Zita Johann, and who is featured in the poster, along with Karloff's monster, the revived Egyptian priest Imhotep, who searches for his love. So, yeah.
That's the original one, though. That's pretty cool.
It's the original one, yeah. It's one of, I think, the few that still exists from 1932.
Maybe Brendan Fraser will buy it.
Let's imagine thinking, like, if I knew what I knew now, then, when I was a kid, I think I probably never would have opened a box of toys or taken a comic book out of the sleeve. Although I'm sure when I was into comics, then none of them would have ever been first issue, first appearance, or anything like that. It's probably like Spider-Man 357 when he takes a school bus or something.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even like, even kids back then wouldn't have known that comic books were going to be the collector's items that they are now.
If you had an Action Comics #1, you would have nothing of it.
You would have taken it to the washroom.
Yeah, you would take your silly putty and try to reproduce the fucking page. Which leads me to the question, so I don't think it's really believable in the 40-year-old virgin that he'd have all those toys still in boxes.
Yeah.
Just based on our conversation right here.
Exactly. How hard do they laugh at you at the framing store?
Asia poster.
I framed an Asia poster.
I only know one song by Asia, and it's from that movie, and it's because of that movie. Heat of the Moment.
Great movie. I miss that movie.
See, it was between that and Wedding Crashers, I think, were the two that we quoted all the time when we were at the box office.
Oh, yeah.
Probably more so that one.
Definitely more 4-year-old version.
Yeah.
With Wedding Crashers, like, subtly. And Swingers.
Yes, I should watch Swingers again. It's been a while.
I have it on the burnt copy I think you gave me on DVD somewhere.
Can't say that. Burning copies of DVDs was illegal, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
There you
Sorry, John Favreau.
There goes our endorsements.
There goes our chance to appear on Iron Man.
So, I have a bad dad joke to close off the show if you want to hear one.
Yes.
All right. So, Ryan, I ask you, why did the cookie cry?
I have no idea.
Because his father was away for so long.
Oh my god. Not even mad.
You're just disappointed like a dad would be.
Was away for so long. Pretty good, pretty good. Anyways, that's our show. Subscribe if you want to hear more.
If you like dad jokes, I think it was 3 more episodes where we did that. Of the 26 that we've done thus far.
If you like taking a power drill to your own eardrums,
then Open Collar is a show for you.
That's right.
All right.
Everyone, just pay attention to my new mic.
Oh, that's on? I didn't know it was on.
Yeah, it is.
All right.
It works.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm officially like a broadcaster now, which scares me more than anything because I always say stupid shit all the time. So
you don't say.
Maybe this isn't the career for me, Cory.
Or it is the career for you.
Maybe
it's a little like Howard Stern. And
I was gonna say, if people embrace me like Howard Stern, then maybe. That was a great movie, Howard Stern, Private Parts. Watch it. It's pretty good. Deceivingly, really good.
Yeah, that was what 96, 97. Yeah.
Saw it on my illegal pay-per-view.
Oh, here we go again with the illegalness. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, it was like really good documentary of his rise to fame and how he worked at NBC and stuff. It was cool.
Yeah, it's one of those it was so good you don't even have to do a documentary for it, because sometimes they have like Apocalypse Now, right? That's a strong movie, but Heart of Darkness, the documentary about that movie is so much better. Yeah. Film nerd. I lost Ryan. I lost you there. All right, so that's Open Collar for this week. Follow the show at facebook.com/Open Collar Podcast or on Twitter, Instagram at Open Collar Pod. Throw us comments. If you want to give us some feedback, some topics to discuss, you want to promote something on our show, by all means, email us at opencollarpod@gmail.com or hit us up on any of the social platforms. For Ryan, this is Cory reminding you to keep it casual.